In my last video, we went through the top 10 Australians with the most aura, and all of you guys let me know in the comments how many people I missed. But unfortunately, that video was a top 10 video, not a top 47. Anyway, the most logical thing would be to make a part 2. But then I remembered what my friend Isaac Newton once said. Can you please send me that $20 you owe me from last week? Actually, I think that's the wrong quote. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. For example, if you loan someone $20, they expect $20 back. And the same goes for collecting aura points. If everyone had 10,000 aura points, then that would mean nothing. So of course, for some people to gain aura, some people have to lose aura. So in today's video, I'll be going through the top 10 Australians with the least amount of aura. The people who have taken one for the team, made themselves look like an absolute Nimrod to help combat aura inflation. And first up, of course, we have anyone who's watched one of my videos and not pressed the subscribe button. That's a whole lot of people and is very easily rectifiable. Anyway, now in 10th spot, we've got a former Prime Minister. And before we get into this, I want to apologise for the amount of politicians on this list. We unfortunately see enough of them on TV, and it seems that we can't escape them. But to be fair, they are some of the people with the least amount of aura in the entire world, so they fit this list quite well. Anyway, in 10th spot, of course, we have Holt. Harold Holt became Australia's 17th Prime Minister in 1966, but it didn't really last that long, because in 1967, when swimming off a beach in Portsea, south of Melbourne, Harold Holt mysteriously disappeared. Now, despite the massive search effort from the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, and a bunch of specialised divers, despite the fact that it was the largest search operation in Australia's history at the time, they never found him. Now, of course, there were the conspiracies that it was a shark attack, like something out of Jaws. He was swept out to sea by a rip, which is the official story. He faked his death and ran off with a mistress. He was kidnapped by a Chinese or Russian submarine, or of course, it's possible that he was taken by a UFO. Now, those are all theories that were thrown around at the time. Anyway, now obviously they never found him, and since he was the leader of Australia, they had to find a way to memorialise him. And what's the best way to memorialise someone who died in a drowning incident? You guessed it, name a swimming pool after him. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. The Harold Holt Swim Centre in Glen Iris, Victoria. Now look, that wasn't really his fault. It was more the fault of the people who named a swimming pool after him. Hence why he's at the bottom of this list, but trust me, it gets worse as we go along. And in number 9, we have another politician who's known for his water-based activities, and that of course is Tony Abbott. Now where do we even start with Tony Abbott? My personal favourite, and possibly his most known one, is the onion incident. When visiting an onion farm in Tasmania, he was handed an onion and bit into it like it was an apple. Now I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried that, but it's not exactly the easiest thing to stomach. And some of you may not know that he actually did the same thing 4 years previously. This time it was a spring onion though, and I can't really find a video of it, but it is recorded in newspapers and other outlets. But by far, the thing that loses Tony Abbott the most aura has to be all the incidents related to his Speedo wearing. I mean, come on, you're the Prime Minister of Australia, getting around in budgie smugglers, but you're lucky he's near water in this one, because that chest here is nothing but a fire danger. Now I'll admit it, Tony Abbott should be further up on this list, but he has redeemed himself with all his volunteer firefighting work. He even received a medal for 15 years of volunteer service for the New South Wales Rural Fire Service. He was even pictured volunteering during Australia's infamous Black Summer, while Scott Morrison, the current Prime Minister at the time, was overseas holidaying in Hawaii. Now obviously that gained him a ton of aura, and he could have almost made the top 10 list, but unfortunately he instantly undid all of his hard work when he did a eulogy for the funeral of George Pell, calling him, and I quote, a saint of our times. So yeah, not a lot of aura to be gained from that one. Anyway, moving on to another politician to finish this trifecta, and this one is Fatima Payman. Now the only reason she ranks higher in the list of least aura than Tony Abbott is because I can't find any record of her doing 15 years of rural volunteer firefighting service, but this speech here is the reason that she's on this list.
To the Sigmas of Australia, I say that this goofy air government have been capping, not just now but for a long time. A few of you may remember when they said there'll be no phantom tax under the government I lead. They're capaholics. They're also yapaholics. They yap non-stop about how their cost of living measures are changing lives for all Australians. Just put the fries in the bag, little bro.
Now look, there's another minute and a half of this, and I won't make you sit through it even though I had to, but you get the gist. Now she said at the start she was trying to appeal to people who aren't of voting age yet but will be in the near future, but the people that this does appeal to are probably 12 or 13 years old, and that means it's probably another 6-7 years till these people are even old enough to vote anyway, and by that time it'll be ancient history and everyone would have moved on. But I'll admit, when she said Sigmas of Australia, I did think she was talking to me, but then she lost me with all the rubbish that followed it, and of course we all know there's nothing more cringe than a politician trying to appeal to the general public. Now if this was just a one-off, I would have let it slide, and she probably wouldn't have even made this list, but of course, as all politicians do, she took it too far and did it all over again.
To the Sigmas of Australia, the Goofy government is still capping, but is anyone surprised? When a risless, oralist, unk Prime Minister is running a show, a chopped government is what follows.
Now is this as bad as calling someone who's got a very questionable history a saint? Of course not. But at the end of the day, this shit was not tough, and the fact that it happened twice earns her a spot on this list. Anyway, moving on. Now in number 7 we have one of the worst rap battles in the history of the world, which took place in the west of Melbourne, and that of course is the Snipes rap battle. Now this went viral back in 2022, but I can proudly say that I'd seen this years before as it's so local to me. But in 2022, it escaped the suburb of Sunshine and basically went international, all over TikTok. If you haven't seen it, I'll let the highlights play for you right now.
I'm sorry little kids, but I'm a killer clown today. I could say bullets are gonna spray, I'm from Brooklyn, that's alright. But let me just say I like to get close and personal with a razor sharp object. But let me just say this. I'm not gonna stab you in the heart. What I'm gonna do is grab a pen, stab you in the neck, puncture your lungs, then slam a blunt object into your stomach. Fuck.
Yeah, you get the gist. Now Touche on the right here seemed to have a little bit more experience in the rap battle scene.
Personally reckon the sound of you rapping the foul flows is like saying red backwards while licking your elbow. Seriously, give it a shot.
And Snipes here on the left, he just sort of nervously waffled his way through it. But yeah, if you want to see the full rap battle, I'll leave a link to it in the description. I'm surprised this didn't feature on that YouTube channel, The Epic Rap Battles of History. Anyway, moving on to number 6. Now I hope you enjoyed that break from politicians, because now we're straight back into another one. And that of course is Scott Morrison. Now you may have seen this clip play a couple of times already in this video, and that's Australia's former Prime Minister Scott Morrison absolutely shit-mixing a child in a soccer game. But that's not the only thing he's done in his time to obliterate any chance of him gaining any aura. I mean, of course we can't look past the 1997 Engadine McDonald's incident, where he allegedly let King Kong's fingers slip out while waiting for his meal in a Macca's after the 1997 NRL Grand Final. Now he has since gone on radio and denied that this ever happened.
Hey, can I clear up one thing?
Not the
with you
Macca's
guys
thing. The Macca's
from
thing?
ages ago.
The Macca's thing, right, yeah.
It is the biggest urban myth ever.
So it's not even true.
That you pooed your
Never
pants at the
happened.
Engadine McDonald's?
It's complete and utter rubbish. I found the whole thing incredibly amusing.
But as we all know, politicians never let the truth get in the way of a good story, so it's his word against millions of other people. Then of course we've got the time he was trying to hold a press conference on some dude's lawn, and he basically told him to piss off.
And the income limits we've put on... Please. Go get off the grass, please. Sure. Let's just move back from there. Come on.
Hey guys, I've just reseated that.
Yeah, please, off the thing.
Sorry, mate.
All good? That's all good. Thanks.
The time he left the country and went on a holiday to Hawaii while half the country was on fire, leaving no one but Tony Abbott to try and sort it out. Then of course when the criticism and pressure got to him, he finally came home to do some PR stunts with the firefighters that were stuck out there fighting the fires, and it went about as well as you'd expect.
You'd be tired. Oh, well, it's nice to see you. Okay, you got to... for a cuppa.
So I think it's safe to say that Scott Morrison wouldn't even have 2 aura points to rub together. Anyway, moving on to number 5. In number 5 I've got this dude here who got caught stealing in Thailand. Like, come on bro, you're stealing fake shirts that probably cost $5 each. You weren't even good at stealing, and now you're facing jail time. Look, if it was Maya or David Jones and you're stealing $200 shirts or something, I can sort of understand the hustle. But fake soccer shirts and you're stuffing them down your pants in broad daylight, I don't know how you didn't expect to get caught. Now apparently the staff had caught him stealing there before, and the shirt he was wearing had been stolen from the exact same store previously. Now me personally, I haven't spent much time in a Southeast Asian prison, but I do know that it's not much fun and they won't have a PS5 like we do back home. So not only does this guy not have 2 aura points to rub together, I don't think he has 2 brain cells to rub together either. Anyway, moving on to number 4. And that of course is the infamous Tash Peterson, or Vegan Booty as she's known online. Now look, I'm all for standing up for what you believe in, as long as you don't ruin other people's days while doing it. Now, I personally believe that you shouldn't have to pay more than $10 for a pint, but I don't rock up to the pub covered in blood with a megaphone. But Vegan Booty here thinks that her protesting in McDonald's covered in blood with a megaphone carrying on like an absolute baboon is somehow going to take down a multi-billion-dollar corporation or make the people that are in that restaurant to eat beef and chicken side with her vegan views by giving them the shits. Now, I don't really mind those vegans that stand around in the city with the TVs showing me animals getting slaughtered. That just makes me hungry for a beef burger or a chicken parma. But when you just walk in somewhere and start being loud and messy, especially when you're obviously not going to clean up the mess that you just made and some poor 16-year-old making $13 an hour is going to have to mop it up, the aura points start to dip into the red. Anyway, moving on to number 3, and that of course is the infamous Raygun. Now look, I think Raygun's been dragged through the mud enough by the media already, and I don't think that she's a bad person, but it's hard to look past the cringy performance that she put on representing Australia in the Olympics. Now look, I don't think anyone knows quite how Raygun ended up in the Olympics in the first place, but I think we can all collectively agree that Jonah Takalua would have been a much better choice to represent our country. Now, you've all seen the dance moves a billion times, and there's a little bit of a iffy grey area with the copyright on this one, hence why I've had to use footage of someone else recording their TV. But I think the real question is, why the hell is breakdancing even in the Olympics anyway? Now, obviously breakdancing has been taken off the schedule for the 2028 Olympics after this incident, but that's not going to change anything. This aura genocide has already been and gone, and Australia as a nation is still recovering till this day. Anyway, moving on to number 2. Now, this one here is a group entry, and that's all the politicians who decided to ban YouTube for people under 16 from December the 10th. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know any of their names, nor do I care, but these middle-aged morons who have probably never even hit that like and subscribe button before in their life has decided that YouTube is unsafe for kids. The same website that punishes creators like me for swearing too much. Now, I cannot figure out for the life of me why they decided that this was a good idea, but then again, as we've seen in some of the previous entries on this list, politicians most of the time don't have two brain cells to rub together. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you swear too much or do something naughty in a video, it'll either get taken down or age restricted, which means people under 18 won't be able to watch it anyway without verifying their age. But the most stupid thing about this whole ban is that you can still access and watch YouTube, you just can't have an account, which means they can still literally watch any video that isn't age restricted like normal, and the only thing that they can't do is like, comment and subscribe. So in the pursuit of keeping kids safe from, swearing, and funnily enough, the thing that gets my videos taken down the most is snippets from news reports, so yeah, I don't know, what a waste of time. But on an unrelated note, if there's any VPN companies out there watching, you know what to do. Anyway, before we get into number 1, we've got a lot of honourable mentions to get through. I put this little poll up on my Instagram, and you guys absolutely berated it. Now, by far the most popular one was just every politician under the sun: Guy Sebastian, Tracy Grimshaw, the I Own Frankston Kid, Rolf Harris, myself, Diddy, Rex H, Ivan Milat, Spotto, Raptor13, Tony Jones, that's actually a really good one, but I've covered him a million times and in my news video, Junkies, Abby Chatfield, Skux the rapper, and of course anyone who's watched this far into the video and hasn't liked and subscribed yet. Now, in first place, we've got a group of people that I just can't stand, and that of course is Mikey/ticket inspectors. These people literally get paid by the hour to ruin people's days. Now, the first word in public transport is public, and public means it's open to the public. But where I live in Melbourne, Australia, the public transport is owned by a private company, and since you have to pay to use it, it's not really public transport, is it? Now, these people spend their days hanging around universities and of course major hotspots where school kids travel from. Now, the ticket inspector with the least aura that I've ever seen was a dude with a shaved head, wearing the usual stupid ticket inspector outfit and wearing a Temu badge that said authorized officer around his neck on a gold chain, like he was in the FBI or something. Relax, Hank Schrader, you bash school kids for a living. Now, I get that nothing in life is free, but the way I see it, if the train's going that way anyway, it's not going to hurt if I just jump on. Why can't they just pay their way with advertising or something? No one's ever had a good experience with a Mikey inspector. These guys are nothing but bullies, and there's plenty of videos and evidence out there of them just attacking students and young children trying to catch the tram home from school. They're violent, power tripping and arrogant, and I think they're a perfect spot for number 1 on this list. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy one of these too. I'll see all of you guys in the next one.